Hello guys, and welcome back to Getting Started with LabVIEW, and in today's example we will look into color and RGB function. Now, as we all know that a color has three main components that actually define the value of color itself, which is the red, green and blue. And the red is actually the red component of the RGB value. The green is actually the green and blue is actually the blue. Now, if you look into the definition for the RGB value, it actually holds up a value from 0 to 255. The reason is because it is actually an unsigned 8-bit integer. So let's look into the numeric constant here, and if I change the representation to U8, you can see that it actually has the unsigned 8-byte value, which is the 8-bit integer that holds 0 to 255. So we usually use this value to define a specific color. Now, what do I mean by this is, let's go into the graphics, picture function, and color to RGB. So we use this function to get the respected components of the color. So if I create a control and I put in a control and expand here, it actually is a color picker. So I can select several types of color here. And if I were to resolve its component, let's create an indicator for R, indicator for green, and indicator for blue. So you can see that it is actually holding the value of U8, which is the unsigned 8-bit integer. And what do I do this is by, let's drag here, I have the R, B and G, and if I run this, I get a value that is actually corresponding to each of the RGB value. Now, what am I going to do here is I'm going to put this into a while loop so that we can actually see as the color changes, the RGB value also change. I let the loop run continuously, and you can see now if I change this, I get a separate color of the RGB value. This is just an introduction on how we're going to get the components of the color by using the color to RGB, and in the next part we will look into how we're going to use the RGB value to get the color of to get the color itself.